What's up? Welcome to another episode of Dual Senses, a PlayStation podcast where we give you our 2 cents on everything PlayStation. My name is Alex Wolf, and I'm joined here today with the one, the only, the multicolored hoodie-wearing...
Heathen? I don't know.
We say your
name.
Steven.
Every time.
My
name is Steven. Steven Heathen. I get it mixed up.
Steven
sometimes.
the Demon.
Steven the Heathen Demon.
Jeez. Every time. We've done the show the same way.
I know, but like
17 episodes.
No, the intro is always like just different enough to where I get confused.
The one thing that's been consistent enough is that we say our own names.
Yeah, but like I don't know when, and like you were talking about my hoodie, and I was distracted. You talked about colors. There's a lot of colors, so I had to like see all the colors.
So it wasn't the pause that threw me off; it's the fact that your first response was heathen,
because you're like the hoodie wearing blank, and I was like, I'm the hoodie wearing heathen, because alliteration. I don't know.
God. Any hooser, if you're a fan of the show, by all means. You can like, comment, give us a good rating, and subscribe. You can also, if you really want to see the show grow, head on over to mtfproductions.com/donate, where you can donate as little as $1 to help us grow, whether it be equipment, space.
Are you okay?
Just donate $1 to watch us grow, and then we talk about $1 to see Steven go.
Jesus Christ. Donate $1, you might see someone come.
No, you will not.
If that's what you want.
No.
Jesus Christ.
No.
Y'all need to be on the other podcast. Then we can go into detail about all these other things.
Oh, you say y'all. You were the only one.
Spit all over myself.
God damn it.
You can see more of that for $1 too.
Oh no. Let's just get it. Let's just move forward. Let's go into it. Screw the opener. Jesus Christ.
Opener.
I hardly knew her.
Why? Why? Why is this happening?
I love how it like cancels out the sound, so it's just like very faint laughter to whoever's listening. They just hear like quiet giggles in the distance.
Oh God. Steven, we got a lot to discuss today.
We do have a lot that we need to talk about.
Like
on and off mic.
What?
On and off mic.
What do we have to talk about off mic?
I don't know. The cum situation.
We don't have to talk about that at all.
I mean, I feel like
It doesn't.
it's an elephant in the room at this point.
It is not.
It's a big old elephant.
It is not by any means.
There was a lot of news.
There was a lot of news, and it was presented in a stupid ass way, and I'm not okay with it.
Well, why?
I mean, so,
Jesus. This is gonna be one hell of a show.
yeah, this is gonna be something.
Oh my god, I'm only one beer in.
One beer in.
One beer in.
One beer in.
And one burn.
One burn. Burn.
Why didn't you like the way that the news
So
was
it's not that this is all some good news, right? But I have a problem with. So earlier in the week, was it earlier this week? No, it was last week. Late last week, Nintendo put out crazy, awesome, pretty cool Direct, right?
There's like Smash Brothers stuff.
Yes, it was the first one they've had. The first proper, Nintendo Direct they've had since 2019, and it had a plethora of news that covers things from all of 2021, and then a little bit of tidbits in 2022, right? PlayStation, on the other hand, we've got how many state of plays this year that are all like unannounced. They just kind of happen. No one's really paying attention to it because there's no one saying it's going to happen. There wasn't even like a day before, like, hey, by the way, we're going to have a small state of play today. They just drop, and they're absolutely, like, they're small. They're minimal. And then we get other things that are huge. Like, deserve a full presentation. And the state of play has only been around for about, a year now? They started last year. I want to say, if not,
I feel like
late
it was
2019.
before. I feel like it's been around for a few years. Because the State of Play announced, like, PS5 details, but we had State of Plays even before then.
I just can't remember the first one. What I want to say it was no earlier than 2019, right?
I'll look into it.
All right, yeah. But either who, we've got all this news coming out. We've got Returnal stuff. We've got Gran Turismo stuff. We've got Ratchet and Clank's release date. We've got details on the next generation of PlayStation VR and another wave of play at home. And nothing. I say this, and I was mad about all this, and now, just a few moments ago, on Tuesday, February 23rd of 2021, there's going to be a State of Play on Friday.
Yeah, I feel like PlayStation secretly heard your little complaints.
Like, I just don't, I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Honestly, so I'm not worried about it because I feel like much of this news that's been announced, like in the past year, basically, other than the PlayStation thing, I don't think it needs some like grand, other than the PlayStation 5 reveal, I mean.
Yeah.
I don't think they really need this big grand thing.
Well,
I think that a blog post or a video on their YouTube or Facebook or whatever is fine, because I feel like people within the industry will still talk about it. They'll create the content for it, and that's how the news spreads. I don't think they necessarily need like a big thing, because frankly, it's resources that they just don't have to spend. Like Nintendo having their thing, that's fine, but I feel like Nintendo doesn't really have like other things. Like, is there a PlayStation blog equivalent for Nintendo? I know that they have like the little updates and stuff on the Switch, like in where you can subscribe to games and stuff like that and see news on there. But like, is there a website that's like an official Nintendo blog?
I don't believe so. Not an official one, at least. But at the same token, right? Like PlayStation's big announcements are usually a small video of some sort, and they have a short little article on the blog, right? So. With Nintendo stuff, they usually have someone presenting it in a fashion in a small video. And they've done that in the past, where they're like, we're not going to do a direct. We have one thing we need to talk about. Here's a trailer. We'll put it on our YouTube channel. Here it is. And then they'll tweet saying, hey, we put out a video. Here's new stuff. And that's all they do.
Hold on. Can you put the screwdriver down?
No.
It's intimidating.
Why?
I feel like, I don't know, you're going to stab me if I say the wrong thing.
You're across the table.
Yeah. You never stabbed someone across the table with a screwdriver?
Think real hard about that. The answer is no, Steven. I have not.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm just saying. I don't want to be your first.
You have nothing to worry about. I promise you.
That sounds like something that somebody who would stab someone with a screwdriver would say.
Also very true. The screwdriver is now gone. It's been removed.
What a weird day.
There is nothing sacred. Anywho, so the problem being is like, so I get, you're right, they can totally get away with not necessarily having, a big thing or this, that, or the other, make everything big, grandiose, but I think the novelty of something like a Nintendo Direct, because the Nintendo Direct is very much just a culmination of small little tidbits of information. Like, anything from saying, hey, the next Legend of Zelda game, we don't have details on yet, but there will be more coming here soon. And just trailer after trailer after trailer, this, that, and the other.
March 20-something in 2019.
Okay, so
was the first State of Play, by the way.
Okay, so about 2 years now running. So for PlayStation, who is king of just having big, grandiose things, and it's just small snippets of trailers and whatnot all together in like a 30-minute video, right? So it's just weird. Why roll out Why roll that out? It's only been available for 2 years, and then after putting out a brand new console, why wouldn't you want to hype it all up? Why wouldn't you want it to be, especially new franchises, not franchises, but new games, new IP, like Returnal? Why would you not want to get out as much as you can about that? Because no one knows what it is.
So that's actually, I think one of PlayStation's strengths, especially as of late, is having, instead of just having like a big explosion of a thing, having enough of a trickle of information to keep people talking about a thing. Like, to keep it in the news. Because if there's a big bang of information, then, people talk about it for a week and then it's done. On to the next. And I feel like if they were to do that with a big state of play every few months or whatever, then, I don't know, they would just blow their load and people would forget about it. But I feel like also, well, we'll have to get into that when we talk about some of the news, but I have a theory about why some announcements were made, and why there could have not been a state of play this time around.
Okay, well here,
But-
we'll return back to that then. We'll go over through the news here.
returnal of state of play.
Well, let's go through the news. You've got it all there in front of you. Why don't you go ahead and run through it, and then we'll come back to my frustrations.
All right. So first up, there was another massive update to No Man's Sky,
Okay.
the Companions update, and this, I feel like every other week we have some new No Man's Sky news, or maybe it's just, I don't know. I feel like this game gets updated so frequently, but basically, it's another massive update for No Man's Sky, totally free, just like all of the other updates, which I still think is remarkable considering the amount of content. But now you can tame and breed creatures, and they can be like battle companions. You can ride them, and you can like do gene splicing to basically create your own creatures using different attributes and stuff. From different creatures that you've discovered. It's pretty in-depth, and it's just another fucking cool thing in No Man's Sky. You can, like, trade monsters.
Oh, cool.
Or creatures, I guess. Animals. I wonder if it works with plants.
I've never played No Man's Sky, so I have no idea.
I didn't really see in the blog post. I think they have to have, like, a mode of movement. But I don't know. But anyways, it's a really big update, and this game just keeps getting bigger and more feature-full for free. So if you still have No Man's Sky, or if it's just like sitting on your download list, maybe give it a try.
All right. What else we got?
So next up, the Marvel Avengers game gets a release date for the PS5 and Xbox Series X version.
Cool.
So that's coming out on March 18th, 2021, right alongside the new Hawkeye DLC. And it is cross-play with the PS4 and Xbox One, and it is a free upgrade for people who have the last gen or previous gen versions of the game. And the upgrades, I guess, or updates for the current gen versions include upgraded visuals, faster load times, and on the PlayStation 5, regarding the DualSense controller, adaptive trigger capabilities.
Huh. Well, that's cool. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how much support this game continues to get with how much money it's lost. Mm-hmm. So,
I'm really curious as well, and I wonder if it's going to go free soon,
I
like
don't-
as like a PlayStation Plus thing, or maybe one of the games included in some promotions that PlayStation's doing. Yeah, because I feel like they just really need a player base.
I think the problem being is that I think they'll wait to see how this next gen version plays out, because there's also, I'm sure there's a crowd of people out there. It's like, I'll just wait till the next gen version comes out before people like me who are like, if there's a next gen version coming, I'll wait to just buy that one instead of spending $60 playing it now. Then I get this free upgrade, and then I don't play the free upgrade because I've already done everything I wanted to do.
I just wonder if that's going to be enough.
It's true. It's very much up in the air. I don't think it'll go free. I don't think Square will do that. I mean, Square still selling Kingdom Hearts on PC for the first time, $60 a pop, when you can now buy it on consoles.
Yeah, but that's a thing that
So
that has traditionally sold. That has always consistently found an audience.
that's true, but it's also a brand
In
new
this
thing.
game,
Brand new thing, you know. So I mean, who knows? But I don't think they'll do that yet.
all I know is that I don't give a single fuck about this game, but I would play it if it were free, and maybe I'd drop some money on it if I were able to play it initially for free.
True. I mean, I think the big thing that games they're looking for is the games as service type of revenue stream, but you need people to play. I think also just they hired a lot of high end voice actors for that game, and like between Nolan North, Troy Baker, Roger Craig Smith, like it's a healthy chunk of money spent on just your voice acting talent alone, and then on top of it being a Marvel game, it had a big ass budget, and it's just not performing there.
That's why I feel like they're just desperate for an audience.
Oh, that's definitely what it is. I just don't know if they're going to be willing to go free at that point with how much money they've already spent in it. Like, I wonder how many people they're hoping will get it, because a big problem the game had for not getting an audience was it was broken, and while it's fixed, it still has a lot of issues from what I understand.
I just wonder if has the ship sailed, or because that's the thing, they already lost money on this,
Right.
And chances are they're probably not going to make money on this unless they can get a massive audience, and if 1% of a ridiculously large audience spends money on it, then maybe they can make their money back.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not saying it's not going to
With with
possible,
crossplay
I
and
just don't
everything, and with they still have new DLC and stuff coming out. Maybe they can put that behind a paywall.
Yeah.
For a free version. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think a lot of people played it and then they just fell off when it came out. I don't think a ridiculous amount of people played it necessarily, but the ones who did fell off because there wasn't really any more. There wasn't as much content initially. But
so we'll see. What else we got?
So I'm gonna save some of the big stuff for later. So I'm gonna skip down the list. Days Gone is coming to PC, confirmed.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. Coming in the spring. So that is joining the likes of Horizon Zero Dawn and Death Stranding as far as quote-unquote PlayStation exclusives that are coming to, or that are already on PC. But so Days Gone will be the second first-party PlayStation exclusive to come out on PC. Actually, no. What was that weird top-down space shooter? Was it Alienation? It was a sci-fi thing. I think it was made by... Was it Housemarque?
Probably.
What am I thinking? It was like Destiny, but top-down. It played like Dead Nation. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Not necessarily off the top of my head, no.
Anyways, that was a PlayStation first-party developed game that also came to PC.
Oh, okay.
But that was a while ago.
Yeah.
But anyways, as far as big PlayStation exclusive...
PlayStation Studios.
Yeah. Days Gone on PC. That's kind of interesting. I feel like that game would do well on PC because it had some performance issues, and also if people can fuck around with it, I feel like Days Gone would be fun in a modding situation.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So that'll be fun.
What else?
So I have links that I have to click, and I apologize ahead of time for my pronunciation. But we're gonna get into some Japanese stuff.
All right, let's do it.
So just forewarning. So the producer for Yakuza, while not directly announcing anything, they have expressed interest in bringing the Yakuza spin-offs that are more historical, like the historical fiction series, to the West, including Kenzan and Ishin. Kenzan and Ishin? Kenzan and Ishin. I don't know how to pronounce these things. But more Yakuza in the West is more Yakuza in the West. Even if it's a spin-off, pretty much all the Yakuza games are great except for Dead Souls. We don't talk about Dead Souls. So, yeah, I'm all for this, and the fact that they're expressing interest in doing that is exciting. Especially the fact that it's historical spin-offs. I feel like I would like more historical-based games, just period, because I think that it's interesting, and I like the sort of like pseudo-educational value to them. And one thing that I just don't personally have as much knowledge about is more like world history, I guess, or like Eastern history. So that would be really cool to explore, especially in a Yakuza-style game.
That's fair. So, I think... do you think those will be games that come similar to how the previous remasters did, where they'll all be remastered and some maybe in a collection or not, maybe just released on an individual basis, but be rebuilt on a new engine?
I don't know, because I believe those ones were PS4 games. They just haven't been brought to the West. Gotcha. So it might just be a matter of localizing. And the Yakuza games are notoriously phenomenal at localization. There's a lot of nuance that goes into localizing writing, and Yakuza is full of a lot of like specific cultural references or sort of like cultural jokes and things like that, that require a sort of like added level of intricacy when localizing. So I feel like that would be the biggest hurdle. But as far as like a complete remaster or like rebuilding the game in a new engine, I don't think that's necessary. Literally just localize it and port it. Or just slap subtitles on it. Well, you would still have to localize it.
Yeah, you still have to do that regardless.
But yeah, I mean, still, I just feel like more Yakuza would be more Yakuza. Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, at the rate they're going, with some successful titles in the last few years.
And a Yakuza TV show.
The Yakuza TV show, and then talks of a movie, and then just how well everything's done. I mean, Yakuza Like a Dragon's doing really well. It's getting a new audience. Judgment did relatively well as well. And then all the remasters, especially since going on sale repeatedly on PlayStation, them coming to Game Pass on Xbox, it's definitely getting some more traction, and it doesn't seem like it's going to stop anytime soon. So, what do we got next, Steven?
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 is also coming to PlayStation 5.
Cool.
With some next-gen updates.
Okay.
And, you know, it's basically... I feel like every week we have some new game is announced to be getting some upgraded version on PS5. So, you know, we're talking about frame rate up to 120 frames per second, which is pretty cool, with 1080p or a 60 frame version at native 4K. So, yeah, and faster loading, spatial audio, which is kind of interesting. They use a lot of buzzwords that I don't fully understand. Spatial audio, I understand. High fidelity atmospherics? What the fuck is that? Like, I don't know, but Tony Hawk's got it. And then cross-gen progression as well on PS5. So you
that's cool.
Yeah, you can carry your progress, so that's nice. Especially working towards that platinum. But yeah, the only thing that sucks is there's like a window for a free upgrade.
Okay.
And then there's like a $10
upgrade fee
charge, yeah.
Okay.
But it's like a... Hold on, it's kind of confusing how they word it. It says, this is coming from PlayStationTrophies.org, but they say Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 will be coming to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X on the 26th of March with a free upgrade for anyone who owns the existing PS4 Digital Deluxe Edition. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 Digital Cross-Gen Deluxe Bundle will also be available with an upgrade path priced $10, set to roll out for owners of the Standard Edition. So I guess it's not a window. It's $10 if you have the Standard. If you have Digital Deluxe, it's free.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's another game that's coming out on next gen, which, I mean, this is a trend that I like. Just same games but better. Especially with we still haven't gotten into really many of the crazy PS5 releases. So, having more of the PS4 catalog just being updated to perform better and play better and look better, it's nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for a lot of people, who, especially these games that came out late last year, and whether before or during the launch of the PlayStation 5, they didn't have announced versions yet. So knowing that you're not, you get the full bang for your buck. Now, granted, you have to pay an upgrade fee, which is fine. You're spending $10 to support the work and everything that went into making the game better on your new console. Nothing wrong with that. So it'll be interesting to see how many more games continue to get this treatment, because I don't... While there were quite a few games that came out during that weird, ambiguous time as to, is it going to be on next gen, or is it going to be a next gen upgrade? Mm-hmm. There weren't a ton. Like, eventually that list is going to burn out. So will we continue to see past games receive it as frequently? Or will it eventually just, tap itself out, and then you'll just, have to wait for the next iteration of that game, whether it be a sequel or a remaster or whatever?
I feel like give it a year and a half, and it'll just be basically backwards compatibility, and then just
the boost mode kicking in. Yeah.
Because I feel like that's basically what we ended up seeing with PS4, PS3 to PS4. Mm-hmm. Except there was no backwards compatibility option. But as far as an upgrade path, or the weird kind of cross-buy scenario type thing.
Yeah.
That happened, and then it pretty quickly died out, just because they went to straight up just PS4 games.
That it just didn't make... It was... At the time, people didn't understand it. It's I bought the PS3 disc, I'm putting it into my PS4, I'm paying money to download the PS4 version, but I still require the PS3 disc to register that I own it. Yeah. So that...
It's one of those things that just, it wasn't elegant then.
Right.
And it seems even less elegant now, because we're living in the time where it's yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah.
But, I mean... Yeah. We also used to have to take cassette players with us on the go with a Walkman. Mm-mm. And then when the music ended, you had to take it out and flip the cassette tape in order to listen to the other half of the album. So, it's one of those situations where it's
get with the times.
Yeah.
All right. Well, after this Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, what else we got?
So now we're on to the big guns.
All right.
This is the... There are three really big things, at least in my opinion. These are three very big things. But yeah, so the only thing is we have good news and we have bad news. Should I start with the good news or the bad news?
Just start. Where do you feel? Where's your mind take you? What does your heart say?
My heart's always in the bad, but I want to end in the good. So let's start with the bad. So firstly, Gran Turismo on PlayStation 5 has been delayed into 2022. It was cited that COVID is partially to blame. Honestly, I feel like it would have been delayed anyways, just because Gran Turismo notoriously takes forever to come out. But yeah, so Gran Turismo on PS5, not going to happen in 2021. At least not the full release.
Right.
And they might be like, oh, Gran Turismo 7 Prologue. But whatever. That's fine. I think it's fine. I'm still excited for the game. But yeah, so that is kind of a bummer, though, because that was one of the big exclusives that was pegged for this year. Yeah.
It was definitely it was a front runner in their showcase when they first showed off the PlayStation 5. Mm-hmm. I feel like we just had those details come out where he was talking about what he wants to do, what the game director wants to do.
Yeah, we talked about that not 4 episodes ago,
maybe
3 or 4,
3 or 4 weeks ago. I can't remember.
Time is all squished together.
Yeah, so it's upsetting to know that, but I mean at the same time, do what you got to do. Gran Turismo 5 was a hit. Even though it took forever and a half to come out, but yeah, because of the care that went into it. So the guys at Polyphony Digital, just keep doing what you're doing. Take your time. So
yeah, that's the only bad news.
Yeah.
Out of the big news. So that's good.
Yeah.
A delay doesn't bother me as much.
especially nowadays.
Yeah.
Like
When I don't have a PS5.
Yeah, that, and then this is the year where everyone expected things that weren't. We always got those disclaimers last year, right, about games that are going to be affected for COVID and development and things of that nature. I think this will be the true year we see where things get pushed back due to COVID, because these games are what were development heavy last year. They weren't finishing up what was left and things of that nature, you know? So I expect to see more games like that come throughout the year, if anything. I won't be surprised if they do. So
next, PlayStation has announced that their Play at Home promotion, which was started last year, I think during COVID, like right sort of in the beginning of quarantine.
It was started due to COVID because people were stuck at home, people were losing jobs, and what could you do to take up time?
Yeah, and what better way to help people during a pandemic where they lost their jobs than to give them an excuse to spend more money on games?
Well, they didn't have to spend money on games, though. That was the point.
Well, they gave free games and they had like the sales.
Yeah.
But anyways, still, the Play at Home promotion is returning for 4 months, which is pretty wild. 4 entire months of sales and free games, which, two of my favorite words when slammed together are free and games. So that's awesome. That all begins on March 1st, which is super duper soon. And the first free game was announced, and it is a freaking awesome game. Ratchet Clank on PS4 will be available as a free download for a limited time on the PlayStation Store from March 1st to...
There's different time zones listed on the blog post.
Yeah, it's confusing how they have it listed. Basically through March. Depending on the time zone, it might leak into April, but basically just sometime in March, download Ratchet & Clank. You'll get it for free. But that's pretty cool. I'm also excited to see what other free games that they offer throughout.
Yeah, I'm excited to see, because, I mean, Ratchet & Clank PS4 has been on sale numerous times. Its standard MSRP is at $20 now as a part of the, I think they still call it the Greatest Hits lineup on PlayStation 4. But also, if you have a PlayStation 5 and you have the PlayStation Plus collection, it is also free on there. So I think it'll be interesting to see if they continue to pull games from that list, or if we get, that one, like, pinch hitter out of there, and it's just, holy shit, you never thought that game would be free.
Here's the thing. Here's my prediction.
Okay.
Final month of the Play at Home promotion, that's when we're going to see Marvel Avengers as the free game. That's my wildcard prediction. Because it'll have the PS5 version out by then.
Yeah.
Because this is 4 months down the line. It's probably going to have still not a lot of people playing it. And that would be a really nice way, I think, to get people on board and to, maybe try to save that game.
It could be. Do you think we'll see... So the only thing I can counter that with would be, I imagine the games we'll see are PlayStation Studios games. Just because... you're offering them for free for your PlayStation program, not necessarily like PlayStation Plus, right?
That's fair, but they also have the tie-in with Spider-Man. That's a PlayStation exclusive character,
and that still hasn't happened yet.
So maybe that could be a thing where when they do that, it's like, oh, this is free. Here's Spider-Man. Boom.
Maybe. I mean, the Avengers thing, while it would be cool, it would be free. I'm not putting money on it, I wouldn't bet on that, just because the big advertisement for the PlayStation version was Spider-Man. And we still haven't gotten that yet. If anything, I think they're going to want to see how the next-gen version of the game does, just to see if people buy it on the next-gen, just for the first time. And then if people, once Spider-Man drops, if they'll pick up that. If that game and its DLC does not draw in a crowd, at least its first wave of DLC doesn't draw in a crowd, then I would say, okay, there's more of a conversation to be had if it's going to go free. But right now, there's just too many things they could possibly be banking on to help get that sale number up, especially with a game, it's run anywhere from half off for the last few months.
So, quick question. Is Marvel Avengers the Anthem of 2020?
Trying to think of what else came out in 2020. I would say yes, in a sense. It hasn't hit the price point like Anthem did.
I mean, it's not
Anthem,
as much of a disaster sales-wise as Anthem,
yeah.
but I feel like it's a sort of similar story, where it's like, on paper, all of the bullet points, amazing.
Yeah.
Like, impossible to fail.
Well,
And then it comes out and people are like, oh.
Well, so that's where that's where I think it kind of differs. Anthem, when we first saw gameplay and we saw the trailer for that game, it looked pretty solid. Like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, all right, that looks unique. Let's do it. It wasn't until it released that I was like, oh. Avengers.
Because that was it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. But then Avengers, though, when we first saw actual gameplay footage of it,
Yeah, people were kind of like,
it
ugh.
looks bad. Like, character models don't look good. It looks relatively cheap, especially coming from a developer of Crystal Dynamics, who is lauded for how pretty the Tomb Raider games look. So it's like, come on, guys, really? Like, this is...
But it's kind of like...
early days. It's early days.
I feel like it's weird because I feel like even a shitty game with, like, Marvel attached to it is, like, more likely to sell better. Just because it's a game with Marvel attached to it.
So, and
Like, I feel like people will just buy up just about anything with Marvel.
And that's where it's common
Or at least-
misconception. Because...
At least there was a time in which... like, when the Marvel Avengers game was announced, that was a time when I feel like,
Yeah.
people would buy whatever the fuck with Marvel on it. But it took so long for them to get it out of the gate, and then when we saw it, it was kind of lackluster. But a lot of the same issues that people are having with Marvel Avengers were the same issues with Anthem, where it's like, oh, this is repetitive, there's not really much going on, it's not very inspired, it just seems kind of like humdrum.
Yeah. I think...
So, like...
So I got two counterpoints to that. Well, you're not wrong. I think the Marvel games, everyone thinks Marvel games has always been, you slap Marvel on it, it's great. Which isn't necessarily true. Marvel had a huge resurgence with its game division just recently, maybe within the last 4 years, because their games were not doing too hot. So let's look back. The Spider-Man games, after Spider-Man 2, arguably, sometime maybe Ultimate Spider-Man, depending on the PS2, those games did not fare well. They had one good one, and that was Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. And everything else that came after that did not do well.
Well,
Even
I think
Spider-Man.
I think Amazing Spider-Man, even though it was shitty, still sold well.
Not necessarily, though. That's the thing. Everyone keeps saying that, and because it was... We've talked about this, and I've looked into this too. I'm like, has Spider-Man done well? Historically, at least in the last decade or so, not really. No Marvel game has, which is why they, like, when you have a place like... It's why Spider-Man 2018 was such a big deal. Because there had not been a decent Spider-Man game in years. Which is surprising because there was a formula that was done in 2005 or 2004.
That's what's weird, though, is I think what made the new Spider-Man game so good is it was in capable hands, Insomniac.
Yeah.
And they cared about the game, and they cared about the quality of the game. But that's like a big name. When you attach Insomniac to anything, it kind of elevates it.
Yeah.
It elevates interest, but then it's easy to assume that it's going to be decent. I feel like that's what happened with Anthem as well. People were like, oh, this is BioWare.
Right.
Like, this is going to be good, no matter what. And with the Avengers game, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, you were talking about, especially since they were known for what they did with the Tomb Raider series, it's kind of that same thing, where it's like, oh, okay, it's in good hands. And then it's kind of like, oh.
Well, so that's where it's different, though, because BioWare, again, so before we get to a point where we're arguing in circles, it's Anthem on paper, and when you first saw it, looked good. Everyone's like, okay, yeah, cool, it'll be fine. And then it came out and there was nothing really to it. Avengers, throughout its entire process, did not look good. They had war tables, and the biggest thing for Avengers, that game could sell commercially well, right? But the problem is how much money they spent trying to develop it.
Yeah.
That game has to sell a ton before Square makes that money back. And that's where it lies. If they hadn't spent so much on the game, not a problem. It would have been like, okay, yeah, we're doing this, but the game sold well. Oh, success. But they spent a ton on that. I think they've lost up to $1 billion so far on that game.
Jesus Christ.
And because of how much they spent to get it out there. So it was just like, and I think they had the same idea that I feel like a lot of people have, is like, oh, you slap Marvel on it, it'll be fine. No. No.
Well, I think
licensed games.
I think they were like,
well.
all right, we'll slap Marvel on it and give it to capable hands, and we'll spend money on some of the best talent in the industry. But they just weren't. They just like kind of dropped the ball entirely.
If they had said Avengers was going to be a story-focused single-player experience,
I would have been hyped.
And that would have made more sense, right? Because that's what Crystal Dynamics has done in the last 5-6 years. Single-player, story-driven things. They've had an online multiplayer, but no one talked about Tomb Raider's online multiplayer. No one gave a shit.
People hated it, actually.
It was just there.
Yeah.
All right, cool, get rid of it. And then you give it...
Actually, I'm sorry. I think one person liked it.
All right. But then you give it... So when you say, like, oh, cool, Avengers, and you're like, oh, it's gonna be multiplayer, and they have a games of service feel, it's like... Why? I don't understand it. Like, I get having, like, side missions and online multiplayer, but why is that the focus of this game? Which is very much what it became. So, capable hands... When we talked about this a couple weeks ago, where it's like, sure, there's great developers out there, but you got to cater to what their strengths are. Multiplayer for Crystal Dynamics is not.
Not at all.
Not at all. So it's like, capable hands? Sort of.
So... What do you think the chances of another Gex from Crystal Dynamics are?
From Crystal Dynamics, I don't see it. I would imagine it'd be another team.
I want
published by
Gex
Square.
and Marvel Avengers.
Gex in Marvel Avengers?
Yeah.
I think that's where you get into
Gex
the problem.
enter the Marvel.
Or Marvel into the Gex.
Gecko.
Gekville.
Marco. Jesus Christ. But Nolan North voices Gex.
He's already voicing someone in the
Yeah, that's fine. Just replace everyone with Nolan North. Just patch it in. That's what they did with Destiny, isn't it? They replaced the voice of what's his face?
Yeah,
Jarvis.
No.
Crossing wires here.
They removed Peter Dinklage as
Ghost,
opposed to Ghost and put Nolan North.
Jarvis.
But yeah, I think that's where the problem lies. So
I think it's an interesting comparison, though. It's just fun food for thought.
Yeah.
There's interesting similarities and differences there. But anyways, so the play at home promotion. So 4 months of free games and awesome sales. On top of that, while not necessarily video game related, they are also doing some kind of like a cross promotion thing with Funimation, which is now Sony owned, so that's cool. But subscribers have extended access to their Funimation accounts or Funimation subscriptions during the play at home. I almost said state of play.
Yeah, this starts March 25th, so Funimation's been owned by Sony for quite a while now. So all they've done is essentially, if you're a new subscriber, you normally get like a 30-day access for free, and then it starts charging you month to month. Now, when you first sign up, it is extended, so it's not. They don't have.
They don't say how long it's extended,
right? But it also doesn't start till March 25th. So I imagine more details will be coming in March as to how long they'll be extending it out.
You'll get one extra day. That's not confirmed. It's just extended. We don't know how long.
Yeah, so this is cool. I mean, compared to how this is really cool just because of how it went last year. Last year, we only received Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection in select territories and Journey on the PS4. So now that it's been extended to more than a month and 4 months, and the first game we get is probably one of the flagship titles on the PlayStation 4, that's pretty cool. And and it's not just sticking with games so far. It looks like it's going to be extending to some of the services they offer as well. So,
pretty cool.
Yeah.
It'd be neat if PlayStation Now were also part of this.
Yeah, I mean, we've got months. We got some months.
Yeah.
You know, we got some time. That could be a thing.
Because, I mean, that would be a great way for people to try it out, because I think a lot of people are kind of like,
You give someone a free month of PlayStation Now, which I don't think they've ever done before.
Yeah.
Especially if this is a result of what happens with COVID and people stuck at home and they need something to do.
That'd be a big-ass deal.
Yeah, like a free month to play, just stream games. Like,
I could get some trophies in PS3 games.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So, like, it's upsetting they haven't done that yet, given, like, a rolling thing of a free month or, like, a really cheap sale of PlayStation Now.
Yeah.
The sales we've gotten have been sales, but not enough to substantially say, like, yeah, sure, I'll do that for a month.
What are they fucking doing with PlayStation Now?
I don't know. So it's
like they won't kill it, but they won't, like, let it live.
Yeah, it's and they keep trying to revitalize it. It's just not going anywhere. Well,
Is PlayStation Now the Vita of subscription services? You don't have to answer that.
No. Well, that's another conversation. It's a conversation for a different day. But you're not wrong by any means. I totally agree with that, and we can go into tons of information about that.
Tons
of information. So, another big piece of news.
I thought you said inflammation.
Inflammation, no breathing. So, another big piece of news, probably the biggest that came out today, because no one was expecting it.
Yeah. Fuck, yeah. Sorry.
This comes over from the PlayStation blog, introducing the next generation of VR on PlayStation. So, in this blog post from Hideki Nishino...
Can you say that 3 times fast?
Hideki Nishino.
Can you do it 20 times fast?
I don't think I can speak that fast regularly, which is impressive because I speak very fast.
You could say it slowly, and then we can instruct people to increase the speed of their podcast player to 2 times, and then it'll be as if you're saying it.
But then that's not the challenge, though, because I'm not the one doing it. It's them.
Oh, that's true.
And we don't want to put work on the listeners.
Well, it can be a cooperative experience. It'll be a way for us to be able to achieve something together. Or they can just go to mtfproductions.com/donate, and they can help us achieve something together. Like maybe doing a video version of the show.
That would be cool.
That would be very cool.
That would be really cool. All right, so...
You sounded like Knack.
That would be really cool. Knack reconfirmed. There it is.
There it is. A DualSense is exclusive.
Yes. So, anywho's, getting some tidbits. Some big points from this article happen. Big innovations coming. They've essentially said that they're sharing next generation VR will be coming to PlayStation 5. Big thing they're working on is the field of view and tracking and input, which is a big thing. That's something that was criticized a lot on PSVR, that other VR headsets had down pat. So it'll be cool to see how well they do that. Hopefully they don't get to the standard it's at that time, but get on a level where everyone else is at currently, so we don't feel like we're a step behind.
There were 2 things that really stood out to me with this announcement.
Okay. Hold on. I'm going through it now, so we'll hit it.
Well, but I want to say the next thing.
All right, we'll go for it
because I'm excited for it. A new controller.
Yeah.
A new VR controller. I guess I can't call it a PlayStation Move. But a new VR controller that is kind of taking inspiration from the DualSense controller with the adaptive triggers and things like that. If you remember correctly, in I think one of our first episodes, I mentioned how awesome it would be to have a VR controller that used the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback, because so much of VR is about like tricking yourself into believing that it's real, and the PlayStation VR or VR in general is usually pretty good at doing that visually. But as far as like the actual sensation of holding something and having like tension and feeling the different like points of contact in your hand, that is something that could be game changing for VR, more so than the DualSense controller is for PS5, because like PS5, the most celebrated feature is the DualSense controller and the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback and things like that. In VR, I think it's going to make a massive difference, because suddenly you're holding a thing and you can fucking feel it, and you can squeeze it and it like feels more real. So I'm really curious about how this controller is going to look, and I am excited for that.
Yeah, no,
I just wanted to get that out there.
No,
I'm
that's
really excited.
definitely the biggest thing I would take out of this entirely is the new controller, because I mean they could have easily just ported over the Move controllers. I think it'll still be called Move. It'll probably be called Move 2 or the Move Sense controller.
Move again.
There you go. Boogaloo. So that'll be a big thing. Let's see. I thought I saw something else. This may have been another article on another feed where it was going to use one cable.
Yeah, I think I texted that to you, but that was a thing that was mentioned somewhere.
I read that. I know I read it on like IGN or something, because I don't think when you were texting me we got into details of what was being talked about.
But yeah, I mean, still subject to change.
Yeah.
But yeah. one wire, so not quite wireless, at least, not confirmed to be wireless. Mm-hmm. Not quite the mess that PSVR wires currently are.
Right now, I think they're fine. I mean, it's the back hookup that's a problem, but the headset itself...
Yeah, but then there's 5 things that plug into one another on there, because you've got the 2 on the front, and then the 2 on the thing, and then that plugs into the processor unit, and then that plugs into the system. So it's that's 5 points of contact of plugging shit in.
Yeah, everything behind the scenes. I think the big thing, because I have the new model VR headset, where it's one cable with 2 heads, you plug into the front of the box.
Yeah, that's right. It is streamlined for that.
So...
I'm used to the...
Yeah, the OG one was a nightmare.
Yeah. But yeah, the only thing that kind of sucks about this is they announced it, but they were like, this isn't happening in 2021.
Which, not surprising.
Yeah, not surprising, but why the fuck announce it?
I mean, investors? Really? I mean...
I have my theory.
Okay.
I think they announced this prematurely to distract from Gran Turismo being delayed.
I mean, possibly, if you go on the blog, the Gran Turismo being delayed isn't there.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I'm not surprised if that's the case.
But, I mean, I feel like that's a thing.
Yeah.
Where they're like, you know what? Let's just announce this thing and just say, oh, this is happening.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into where I just don't understand. And where I want to know what their goal is with State of Play. How much time we got on here, Steven?
We've got about it's at 51 minutes, 52 minutes.
All right. We can definitely do this. So that's a plethora of news. It's a big chunk of news there.
Yes.
They've had chunks of news come out throughout the year, whether it's small bits, big bits, every size
all the bits. Love bits.
Why not just have a first? I just don't understand why not have this platform. Because you're right to the point. It's why use the resources? They created fucking State of Play. Mm-hmm. So it's not like they're wasting your resources. They came up with it. So if that was the case, why have it? So I just don't understand why not just take all these small bits of news you're going to have, create this hype, get people excited, especially the people that just bought this brand new hard-to-find console, as to why they should own it. Because the everyday common buyer that bought a PlayStation 5, it's oh, yeah, I got it, but, I only have PS4 games. It seems like I can get on there. I don't see the difference. So this is the time to shine. This is the time where you get, whether it's going to come out within the next 3 months. Yeah. Whether it be it come out within the next 3 months, the next 6 months, or within the next year, lay out a game plan. Because you've got to have a reason why people should hold on to this console. Otherwise, you have people taking these consoles I don't fucking use this because I don't have anything on it that I can't get on the PS4 I already own. And trading it into a GameStop or selling it online. Mm-hmm. You were a victim of this. You had your brother-in-law had the console. He's I've got nothing on it. I've got nothing, no reason really to keep it right now.
And he didn't fucking sell it to me.
But, yeah.
Anthony.
Jesus. Okay.
You fucking dick.
Wow.
I love you.
But yeah, so that's where that's where I don't understand. You want to have these fans need a reason, and not every day do people go on the PlayStation blog.
Jesus Christ!
It's not read all the time by people. It's read by hardcore PlayStation fans. So this news isn't readily there.
Every time I turn on my phone, I look at the PlayStation blog. Just so you know, it's a problem. It's an addiction.
But that makes sense for someone like you or I.
That. Okay, this is a random aside, and I apologize. But there was a new co-op driving game that was announced.
I saw that.
Where one person is driving and the other person is building this obstacle course in real time. That game looks fun as fuck. Hold on, I'm gonna get the names. So
Can't Drive This.
Dun 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 dun. Can't Drive This.
It's weird because you have that and then Taxi Chaos also coming.
Yeah, I mean taxi games are fun too.
It's just fun. 2 automotive games, and then we just had Destruction All Stars.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't. What is the State of Play? Obviously, it's something they want to keep up with. We just got told it's happening again this Thursday. But it's I have a feeling this is going to be pretty lackluster. Because a lot of the big news that we would think would be in a State of Play, they've already put in a blog post or a 30-second trailer for one of their biggest hit games.
So here's my take.
Okay.
You ready? Mm-hmm. So I already mentioned this idea of, oh, well, maybe they're just kind of leaning into the hardcore fans, kind of promoting stuff for them, content creators, stuff like that. But I don't know if I necessarily buy into that. I think that this could be one of two things. Firstly, and probably more likely, PlayStation sucks at having like one hand talk to the other hand. Like, they're not good at knowing what other people within PlayStation are doing. Sometimes it very often doesn't seem like they have some kind of an organized plan. Like, infamously, Concrete Genie was it was either announced or it was like released when like a big PlayStation 5 news drop happened. And Concrete Genie is like a PlayStation exclusive, and they just totally took the spotlight away from that for something that wasn't even happening yet. I think the release date was announced officially or something like that. But like, that was kind of shitty. And that's like one thing where it's like, it's almost like them not knowing what other departments are doing is kind of like hurting other parts of PlayStation. I feel like sometimes the way that they roll out information is that, where like maybe there's a team that works on State of Play, but they're not aware of other information that's happening around it. They're just kind of like, oh, well, we're going to make this State of Play. And yeah, so I feel like there's a bit of that going on where it's just poor planning and poor communication within PlayStation. However, there's another theory or take, or however you want to
Phrase it.
Yeah. What if the State of Play that was announced, which is happening February 25th.
So this Thursday, and it's half an hour.
Yes. What if it's a big deal? And the only reason why I say that is we've had, I think, 3 State of Plays that weren't even announced. They just showed up on the YouTube channel for PlayStation.
Which is the point I was making earlier.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
So the fact that this one is being announced, they said game updates, deep dives into games that are coming out on PS4 and PS5. It's 30 minutes long. Maybe this is going to be a bigger deal. And so that's why they're officially announcing this. And I do think it's funny that we were talking before they even announced the State of Play. You're like, why the fuck didn't they do a State of Play? And then, like, an hour later,
State of Play announced.
announcing a State of Play.
And I'm like,
God damn it,
and
PlayStation.
it's like, God damn it, like, too little, too late, in my opinion. Like, what the fuck?
But I mean, we're gonna have to judge this State of Play on its own merits. But I think this is weird though, because like, what do we compare this State of Play to? Do we compare it to all other State of Plays, or do we compare it to the other ones that have been officially announced?
I think what we do is this. I think, so let's just go through the big preview that Sid Schumann gave. It's serve new updates and deep dives for 10 games coming to PS4 and PS5, including new game announcements, and updates on some of the third-party and indie titles you saw last. God, I can't read.
You last saw
in June's PS5 showcase. Jesus Christ! Why can't I talk?
We're just having strokes.
I'm just having any hooser. So we compare it to that because they're trying to make
compare
it
to
up to
the June one.
Compare not to this the June one, but just the big State of Plays that have been announced. Right? It's 30 minutes, which means there's going to be no real dialogue in between it. It's going to be game after game after game after game after game. That's what we'll get. If we get dialogue, it's small little things like, and here's something else coming from our partners at Insomniac or something like that, And that's what we'll get. And they've already said that there won't be any PlayStation hardware or business-focused updates in the show. We're focused on great games set to come out in the months ahead.
So, not to overhype or anything, but do you think we're going to see God of War? Because wasn't that announced in a State of Play?
It was announced at the PlayStation 5 showcase.
Which, didn't that happen in June?
Third-party indie titles you last saw in June. The only problem is they specifically say third-party.
Yeah, but also, like,
I don't think we'll see anything God of War. I think we'll see more third-party stuff. I think if anything, because there was a lot of third-party games shown off in that showcase, especially from Capcom. So I think we'll see that. Indie titles, I think we'll see games like Stray. There was a handful of games that were indie titles shown during that showcase. So I think we'll see third-party and indie titles. So I just don't...
Well, they also said new game announcements and updates
Yeah, updates
on some third party.
Yeah. So, new game announcements and some other third party. So, it's hard to say. Do I think God of War will be there? No. I don't think we'll see that there.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say that's how they close the State of Play.
I mean, if there was ever time they put it in the show, yeah, it would close it. But I think we would just get a better... I think we just get a better release window. All we know right now is it's 2021. But we
don't even know the name of the game.
I mean, so far everyone keeps referring to it as God of War Ragnarok, even Sony and Santa Monica. So I imagine it's going to be called God of War Ragnarok. Because they're not going to call it God of War 2.
Yeah, but it just said Ragnarok, though.
Right, but I think that was just... A lot of things give, like, a thing where they just show the subtitle, because you already know what the main thing is.
I think it's going to be called God of War. Atreus is a homosexual. Deal with it.
I don't think they'll do that.
That's what it's going to be. Ask Mr. Barlog.
Mr. Barlog.
Mr. Barlog.
But yeah, so I just don't understand. Like, especially, I get what happened with Ratchet and Clank to an extent, right? Like, but at the same time, leaks and shit like that happen all the time, but people blow it off and then they wait till the State of Play, and even then you still gain hype. And to a point you made earlier in the show where it's like, oh, well, you know, you have these big State of Plays, and what? People stop talking about it. I don't think that's going to be necessarily the case either, because depending on how big the news is, like, clearly, we've had instances of Returnal, right? And then Gran Turismo and PlayStation PlayStation Destruction All-Stars, right?
That's fair.
No one's talking about those.
But then, well, we're talking about them.
I mean, now. In reference to the fact that no one's talking about them.
I guess that's true. I think Returnal looks amazing, though.
Which,
personally,
all the more reason
I think Returnal looks great.
But all the more reason that game like that, a new IP on a brand new piece of hardware, shouldn't have gotten some fucking focus on a big State of Play, not some weird shadow drop thing that was not advertised by them or anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they'll show more during this thing.
Maybe.
This is in 2 days.
Yeah.
From the time that this episode airs, in 2 days. Do you want to watch it together?
I'll be home. So.
Do you want to get like shit faced and watch this 30-minute State of Play?
I can't get shit faced.
I mean, you're the one that, if anyone has to get babysat, you'd be the one babysitting because you can't get shit faced.
Do you want to pop some popcorn, make some chocolate chip cookies? All right, so let's make this a community event. All right, everybody listening to this in 2 days on Thursday, the 25th. Thank you.
At 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific.
Pacific. I autocorrected to specific and I was wrong. I'm already drunk. I'm 2 days early to this party.
Jesus Christ.
But no, here's what you got to do. Pop yourself some popcorn, pour yourself a beer.
Or a soda.
Or a soda, or a water.
A beverage.
Yeah, a beverage. Make yourself chicken pot pie sounds good. What the fuck? Make some chicken pot pie.
You're telling me to eat popcorn and chicken pot pie?
Chicken popcorn pie.
Don't listen to this man.
Anyways, do something nice. Sit down and enjoy 30 minutes of whatever the fuck this ends up being.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, and then tune in to us next week where we give our thoughts on the State of Play, because this is Dual Senses, a PlayStation podcast where we give our 2 cents on everything PlayStation. Again, if you like the show, rate, subscribe. If you want to see the show grow, make your way over to mtfproductions.com/donate, where you can donate as little as $1. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, good day.
And good night.
You know what sounds good? If you pop popcorn and put like a ramen seasoning in it and you shake it up.
Oh my god, I have extra ramen seasoning.
Oh jeez.
That's like chicken pot pie popcorn is what got.
Because it's like the same.
Good.
Oh my god,
that just sounds way too salty.
All right, so this is what you're gonna do.
No,
all right,
don't.
In 2 days, you're gonna pop some popcorn. You're gonna take some of that ramen seasoning that's been hiding in the bottom of your cabinet, and then you're gonna pour it into the popcorn bag, and you're gonna shake it.
Get like a plain thing, like a popcorn dough. Don't do like movie theater butter with this. That just sounds bad.
You're gonna shake it, and then you're gonna eat it, and you're gonna like it, and we're gonna watch the State of Play together.
I don't think
we're gonna eat some ramen pop, some ramen. Ramen corn? Pop raw?
Pop rock.
Pop rocks. Pop roms. I don't even know.
We'll see you next time.
Some rom corn.
Oh god.
Rom corn.
Stop the show.
Watch the rom
Pull the plug.
Rom corn.
This is getting out of hand.
What flavor? Chicken or beef?
Ew.
Or do you want to get the spicy kind?
Chili.
Yeah.
Chili.
That would actually probably be good.
I think all of it would be. What do you mean? Probably would be.
Let's mix it all.
Oh. This is making my stomach hurt listening to that.
Every popcorn flavor. This state of play is gonna be fucking lit.
It's gonna be gross as
I don't care what they announce. They can announce garbage for all I care, but we're gonna have ramen popcorn. That's gonna be great.
Jesus Christ. Why?
Okay, bye.